Hello, Leo. How are you? It is me, Lauren B. with Untitled Tarot. Welcome in or welcome back. We are going to do your weekly spread. We are going to use a different deck this week. I have this beautiful deck. It's the Visconti di Modrone. It's probably the most perfect tarot deck I've ever seen. I got it as a gift from a good friend of mine, and I love it very much. I actually have never really used it in like a general spread kind of like this, or in a video, so it's a first timer on the channel, Leo. I have pulled so many cards for you. It was actually a little overwhelming. Your story, I feel like I went down memory lane with you, so thank you for doing that for me. The story is a little complicated, but it's the gist of it, the heart of it is very simple. But I can see that for whoever this reading's for, remember energies can be vice versa. They could be general, flipped, Missy Elliott style, however it be. There's a lot of history here in this story, but there's also a lot of love. There's a lot of people. I've never seen so many court cards out on my board at one time, ever. But that's okay. We're going to get into it because the actual story and the advice moving forward is actually very sweet and it's very simple. So let's get into it. This is the first spread I've ever done where the beginning and the end, much like the cycles of life, are right next to each other. I started the beginning, and by the time I got to the end, I realized the end was the beginning and the beginning was the end. It's fascinating, Leo. You fascinated me this week. So your first cards that you have out, and don't be astounded, these are the largest tarot cards you will ever see in your entire life. They are gold plated. They are beautiful, right? I actually don't know how well these are going to pick up on camera, but that might be a reason for that. But the first two cards that you have out, you have the Lady of Pentacles and you have the Page of Pentacles. In this deck, there are female equivalents for every court. So for the Page, there's also a Lady Page. For the Knight, there's also a Lady Esquire or Knight, and for the King, and there's also the equivalent Queen. So you have both right here, and what I see here is the beginning of a love story or a business partnership. It could be. It feels like a relationship though, and this is us going back in time, right? This is kind of where it first started. Two people of the same suit with basically the same thing to offer to one another, right? It's interesting though, because the male Page, you could see he's kind of got one leg in, one leg out, you know what I mean? Like she's got 2 feet in, right? You can't even see them, they're in. You could see both his feet, and one of them is red, right? That's that sacral, that root, like those lower chakra energies. So this was a period of time, I feel like perhaps you met somebody back in the day, and you were both kind of similar in spirit, similar in status, kind of had very equal things to offer one another, but maybe one of you wasn't 2 feet in, or maybe acting or offering out of maybe like a lesser nature than you perhaps would have liked. And so then moving on, we have again and I promise you I shuffled these, but when we have the Lady Knight of Pentacles or coins as they call it in this deck, and then we have the male Knight of Pentacles, again facing each other, again same spirit, same status, same suit, right, with similar equal things to offer, right? But I look here, so this kind of seems like the next stage, and these came out a little separate, so it's like this was kind of stage 1, right, on your feet. And I think because perhaps it did not seem as though this offer was maybe of the highest of intention, this female, like I said, gender is not a thing. This could be different elements of your own embodiment, like your masculine energy or your feminine energy. But the other party was a little bit like, you have something similar to offer, but you don't have 2 feet in. So I'm gonna keep it moving, right? So it seems as though now the lady Knight of Coins has gotten on her horse, right? She's leveled up, and he's leveled up too, right? But still, one leg. And it's interesting because her horse is still kind of looking back on this older version, right? Kind of this white horse kind of looking back like, remember those intentions, right? And he's looking at her now, but his horse is also going in a complete opposite direction. So again, there's a little bit of like a non-committal, like indecisive, a little in and out split there. Again, same spirit, same suit, right? Same status, kind of equal things to offer. But again, it's like not quite not quite you need 4 feet in, right? Not just 2. The situation needs 4 feet in. So that's kind of like stage 2 of this relationship that I'm seeing. I've never seen these cards come out like this before. So it was really fascinating for me. Now we have out the Queen of Coins, right? And here she is. And she's followed out immediately by the King of Wands. And it's interesting. How does this lay on my board? Yeah, this lays on my board. So I see this, and this for me feels like stage 3. Stage 3 of the relationship, which is where I feel like you guys are in now. And this took me a little while to kind of figure out. But so here you are. I'm gonna presume, Leo, that this is you, that you are the Queen of Coins in this situation. You were the Lady of Coins, again, vice versa flipped. But here you are, and again, it's like you started out as this page. It wasn't really quite good enough, whatever was going on with that situation. So you kept moving. You got on your horse, you leveled up, then you were the Lady Knight. Again, not really so good of it, but now you kept it moving on your horse. Now you're on a throne. Now you've really leveled up. You're a queen, right? And here's another little page trying to offer you up this coin. However, it appears to me as though there is, again, another little page here. And I noticed that the stockings on the King of Wands and the stockings on this little page are the same. However, they also happen to be the same stockings that are on this Page of Coins. So I'm almost getting the impression that it's like in this 3rd stage of the situation, there might be this other party that you're dealing with is perhaps because this King of Wands isn't looking direct. You're looking at the King of Wands, right? It's almost like this little page is coming to you. He's like handing up like this little pentacle for you, right? So this could be somebody from an opposing court, but because the sleeves on here is the same, it tells me that it's somebody that you know. So I feel as though somebody that you know, Leo, has come to you or is coming to you. And it could be with like something small. It could be a piece of information about this King of Wands or about this page over here. There's something happening to me, nevertheless. But whatever it is, you see her, she's almost like pushing. I feel like she's like pushing the pentacle away. She's like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't really know if I want this. And I was wondering why. And she seems a little disgruntled. But then I'm like, because you have all your pentacles, Leo, already. You started as a lady, and then you're knight, and then you're the queen. It's like you're the Queen of Coins. You don't need any more coins. It's like you don't need any more information about this. You don't need any like tangible, like that's not what you need anymore. It's like you've elevated past all of these stages, you've evolved, and now you're the queen. You're like, I don't need these coins. I don't need these because I already have them all. I already earned them all. I went through all of my stages, right? And so now we have this king of wands over here, pardon me. And then you have this little page, and he is dressed just as this page over here, which leads me to think that instead of maybe you might be dealing with the King of Wands, you might be dealing with another fire sign. But because I don't, and this could be you, and this could all be happening around you, right? I feel as though this page and this page are the same. I feel like this page tried to come into this page, didn't really quite work for whatever reason. Tried to come in as a knight on the horse, not really invested, didn't really quite work. And now I feel like either you could potentially be this King of Wands and there's somebody coming to you for advice on how to approach this situation if it's happening around you. Like, can I use a little bit of your expertise? I've been coming in kind of a pentacles, earthy kind of suit. Like, how do I bring more passion into this to kind of get a little bit what I want? Because I do have that one leg out and it is red like passion. So what about that, you know? Or this could be the other party for you, Leo, going to a King of Wands, asking for advice. Like, how do I approach this? What do I do about this? Like, every way that I've been coming in so far, my pentacles, I'm either getting just walked past or my pentacles are just getting rejected here. And it's a good person to ask the King of Wands, because the King of Wands doesn't offer pentacles, which is good because you don't need any more. But it seems like they're trying to get some advice, like a little bit of advice on how to reapproach this situation for round 3. It's like a boxing match. Love is a battlefield, as Pat Benatar taught us. Moving on. So next out we have the King of Swords, and which when I first pulled this card, I in my head I was like, the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Swords, but it is the King of Swords. However, this King of Swords is not dressed in the same garments as the Queen of Swords. As a matter of fact, the detailing on this King of Swords is very similar to the garments on the other court card that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 or 6 cards down, and that is the Queen of Cups. So what we have here, I'm not gonna be able to I kind of want to show you on my board how this is. I shouldn't have. Oh, okay, let's travel. Okay, let me see how well you can see this. Okay, I think that's as good as it's gonna get. Okay, so here you are in stage 3 right now. You're kind of pushing away these pentacles. The other party's trying to get some advice because obviously the pentacles aren't working, right? And so I feel as though because you have evolved so far through all these stages past the Queen of Pentacles, you have all the pentacles that you needed. So now what do you need? You need some cups, right? You have all that stability. You're looking for love, right? So you're kind of boxed in. On one side, this was you, right? This is like where you just finished, and this is kind of where you're trying to be, right? And so I feel as though, Leo, this is you kind of sitting in a little bit of your Queen of Cups energy. And here we have Knights, right? We have the male Knights, and we have the female Knight of Cups. And then over here, we have the Page of Cups in both suits again. Just so we could talk about, there's a lot of pages, and there's all of these court cards, which is crazy. I've never seen a reading with so many court cards. So whatever's going on, there are a lot of cooks in your kitchen, Leo. There's a lot of people involved. Or this has been a situation that's been going on for so long that it's like, feels like you've lived multiple lives together. Like this could be going down memory lane into past lives for you guys, maybe, but it's a lot. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and because there are so many pages, there could be children, like a lot of children involved in this situation. So I'm just putting that in there just so that way you know. But so basically what I see is like you've completed your Queen of Pentacles journey over here, right? Because in order to become the Empress, right, you have to embody all of the queens. So you've done that. And now here you are sitting in your Queen of Cups. Beautiful, right? And I feel as though cups are water, cups are emotion, right? It's like pouring into things. So for me, I see you here kind of throughout this journey, you've almost kind of planted little seeds along your way, right? And now it's like these little seeds are coming in, right? On little horses, like here's a cup, here's a cup, here's a cup. And over here, this kind of feels a little bit like your masculine and your feminine side, right? And it's kind of like your masculine side is like checking all these little cups, like all these little seeds that you planted as they come in. Like maybe it was a project that you worked on. Maybe it was a friendship. Maybe it was, you did some kind of online dating or something. And it's like these little seeds, these little sprouts are coming in. And it's almost like, it feels like an amusement park. Like you must be this big in order to get on the ride. You know what I mean? For me, in order to give it to my feminine energy, in order to present it. Because right here, you have, again, like we were talking about, the King of Swords. But when I pulled it, I was like, oh, the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Swords. And I thought it was very interesting that there was like this duality, right? Because the King of Swords is not in the same garments as the Queen of Swords, who comes out, I believe, later. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't remember now. You have so many cards, Leo. It's overwhelming. But it's like, if you notice, the design on all of the cup suits are the same as here. So it almost seems as though you've taken all of this beautiful cup energy that you have and you've like armored yourself, right? You've like shoved your dress, you've shoved your gown, all of your decoration in order to protect yourself, because I feel like you're very weary about all of this going on in your past. So it's like anything new, it doesn't matter like what you planted in any of these seeds, even if they're up to snuff and they're being presented, you're being very defensive against anything new that's coming in, because you're so like a little bit battle worn from everything that's happened, even though like you have all your crowns and your stars and your stripes and your pentacles and your cut, like you have everything to show for it, but you're just very trepidatious about anything new coming in here, right? Because of everything else because you're still looking back. You're still looking back at all of this like page, trying to be a king, asking for advice from a king after all of this stuff, right? Let's get back over here. Is your head spinning? Mine is, Leo. So that's kind of what's happening in general. This is like a 3-part love story. That's really what it feels like. It feels like you started something with someone, you're both similar status, but just wasn't really totally invested. And then you tried it again. You guys, maybe another wave of opportunity. It feels like it doesn't feel like it's something that ever got off the ground. It feels like it's just like a lot of near misses, a lot of like ships passing in the night kind of thing. And now it's like you're leveled up, but they're kind of still a page. And it's like, you got other options, it seems like, Leo, but you're really defensive of them. I'm not saying not for good reason, but it seems like your masculine and your feminine energy are doing a pretty good job of like weeding them out and presenting them to you. But you're really not having it because you're really still waiting for this page to turn into a king, honestly. Then you got this bottom row. In this bottom row, you have the 5 of coins, so 5 pentacles, feeling a little left out in the cold, right? And then you have the 6 of coins. So it's just like there is this progression. It's kind of like a back and forth. It's the back and forth of the situation, which is probably why you're like done and tired and not having it. That's what it feels like. You're just like, ugh, I'm not even mad. I just don't want to do it anymore. Like, I'm just sick of this. That's kind of what it feels like because it's left you feeling out in the cold, right? And like there is like a give and take, a reciprocity that you really do want, Leo. And you're sitting here, Queen of Wands. Here we go. And it's interesting to me because it's like this back and forth. So a couple cards down, we have the Hierophant, right? And so this can represent spirituality, institutions, structures, right? Like really old dynamics, even ideologies that you could have. This literally actually feels like the Hierophant to me. Like this feels like God. This feels like your spirit guides. This feels like source. That's exactly what it feels like. And so it's here. So this way? Yeah, this way. So it's like here you are, and here's source down here, right? And in between, we have the 4 of Swords, rest. We have the 3 of Swords, heartbreak. And then we have the Knight of Wands. So it's almost like the way it sits on my board, if I can get these cards right, it feels as though after going through all of this, you got your pentacles, you got your cups, you got your crowns, you've learned your lessons, right? And it's almost like you're just waiting for like your ships to come in. You're kind of just like waiting for a break. And here we go. And it's like, I feel like, here's a Hierophant, right? And his hand up, it literally feels like God is like almost like putting a stop. Like this messenger's coming in with like news about, again, maybe why this hasn't like worked out in the past. Like there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of court cards, there's a lot of pages. Like there could be a third party situation, there could be kids involved, there could be anything. But it almost feels like this, that's a Hierophant, I'm so sorry. Like this Knight right here feels very much almost like when this little page brings you like that little piece of information or whatever that is, that talks about like why this hasn't worked or why it can't or why it hasn't, at least in the past, right? Because there needed to be a timeout, because there was heartbreak, because there were too many cooks in the kitchen, because of whatever. But it almost seems like the Hierophant is here, like source is here to say like that's the last message that's going through for this. Like we're not letting in any more message of heartbreak about this. It seems like I keep hearing like enough is enough with this situation. It's almost like source is like calling game on this. Like it's like there's like a divine intervention energy very, very strongly here. Because on the opposite side, we have the 4 of Cups, spilt milk, 5 of Cups, crying over spilled milk, right? And then we have the Hangman immediately afterwards. And again, it's like the Hierophant, he has his arm up, like right up against these. He's like, no, we're not bringing in spilt milk. No, we're not crying about the spilled milk anymore. No more indecision. And then you have out death. So Hierophant's like, this is done. We're not doing this anymore. It's like not like necessarily like calling game on this person in you necessarily, but it's like the way that you're doing this. It's like you're both not dealing with it. Like you're not, neither of you are dealing with this like appropriate. Like it seems like you're really doing like your work as much as you can, but like you are still looking back, like still focused on it. And it's like you're not really paying attention to the future, but you think you are, but you're so defensive about the future that it's like you're kind of like stuck. Like you're making yourself stuck, and the situation has to end. And that's why they're bringing in temperance. They're bringing in their divine intervention. Peace, harmony. We're bringing in temperance into the situation because something has to be done, because the way that the situation is going is just like out of control. The amount of people that are involved in this situation, the amount of back and forth that's going on with this situation, the amount of times that the universe is throwing you guys in each other's paths to like, and it's like enough, like it's enough. Depth to the situation. We have to bring in temperance. Like we have to do something about this. Like, I don't know what it is, but then we have the Devil, because it's not healthy. Because the way that we've been going through this situation hasn't been healthy for either party. 10 of Swords. It's been a burden. It's been a burden on everyone involved. I'm getting like gossip. It's like just too much. It's just too much. Enough is enough. And then the thing that's very interesting that I love so much about this deck too, on top of the fact that there are female equivalents for everything in here, and it's so beautiful, and it's just like chef's kiss, right? There's three extra cards in the major arcana in this deck, which are faith, hope, and charity, which I personally love. And you guys got the faith card out, right? So it's like the Hierophant saying like, all right, let this last message in, like let this last piece of information, this last download, this last little whatever it is, let it go through. This is the truth of the situation. Like this is what it is, because now the situation has to change. Now we're putting a stop to the way that this is being done, because we're not spilling cups. We're not crying over spilled cups anymore. We are not going to sit in indecision about what we don't want, because this situation has to change. The way we think about this situation has to change. The way we go about all of these situations has to change. We have to bring in temperance. It's like time out, because it's not healthy. It's not healthy, and it's been a burden for everyone involved. And what's being called for in this situation? Faith. There's a huge lack of faith on both sides of this, equation. And then you have out at the very end, you have the Empress. This is the Empress card, right? Look, what does the Empress do? She's fertile. She plants. She grows, right? She looks pissed as hell. Look, she's got this cup. She's holding up. She's like, don't drink from it. Don't touch it. She's got this baby. She's like, don't touch my baby. Don't touch my new projects. Absolutely not. She looks annoyed. She's supposed to be fruition incarnate, and she looks annoyed. She's like, get away from me. Get away from me. And it's left you both stuck. 8 of Swords. It's like you both have no, it's like you have faith, but it's like, it's not fortified in the way it should. And that's why I said like, this reading is actually very simple. It's 2 people that are the same. It's soulmate energy all over this board, but it's a lot of near misses. It's a lot of near misses because you can't get on the same page. And part of it is like not having faith in each other. And so you're just walking past each other instead of actually like dealing with it. Cause it's like you're the same suit. You start out as the same souls, the same suit, the same status, right? And then throughout all of this, you're trying to squeeze your Queen of Cups energy into a Queen of Swords energy, and you're trying to make yourself in a little Page of Pentacles, and you're trying to squeeze yourself into a King of Wands energy, and it's just like, it's absurd. It's like you're pretending to be different people. You're not acting like yourselves. Like you're burying yourselves underneath all of this stuff, when the truth is like you're exactly the same, but like somebody was scared. Somebody wasn't ready. Somebody was not acting in their highest of nature, which happens all the time because that's our journey as people and like that's our growth. But that's why the Hierophant's coming in. That's why we're closing out with all this major arcana, because there's too many people. There's too much going on. So the Hierophant's like, enough. Not enough. We're not doing the Hangman thing. We're bringing in death. We're bringing in temperance. We're bringing in the devil if we have to shred up anything else that we have to. We absolutely have to, because there is Empress energy here. There is fertility here, but you're doing yourselves both a disservice, whether together or whether individually, by not having enough faith in the situation, in divine timing, in divine planning, and in each other, right? To speak your truth and be heard. Above all things, faith is most important. So Leo, this is a lot, and I know, but it's also like very simple. It's just like, it's such a simple little love story, but you guys just like threw a bunch of crap on top of it. So like spread the crap off, get it off, clear the table, and then clear the air. Maybe, if you feel like it, your free will, do what you want. But I hope that this helped. I hope that you guys like this deck. I love this deck. I think it's beautiful. It just like layers, and I feel like Nancy Drew when I use this deck. I really do. So this was actually like very fun for me, and I hope that this was helpful for you, and I hope I wasn't too harsh on you. I love you so much, Leo. I do. So all of my information is in the description box. Thank you guys so much for watching. All the decks I use, my email, all my stuff's in there. I will see you next time. Please be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. And what day is it? I don't know. Enjoy the weekend. Goodbye.